Hello, Marianne from Revealing Light Tarot. How are we all today, this evening, wherever you are in the world? I wanted to jump on today because I know that spirits would be flagging in the US at the moment as the Democratic Party gets knocked back at every turn in relation to trying to make this trial in the Senate a fair one. Unfortunately, Senator Schumer's, the minority leader in the Senate, his amendments to try and ensure a fair trial were obviously voted down along party lines. So there is this obvious tactic of the GOPs. It began in the House with holding back and obstructing justice via holding back the evidence and preventing witnesses coming forward. Exerting executive privilege and generally the second article of impeachment, obstructing justice. So Donald Trump, of course, is in Switzerland and basically admitted to obstructing justice by withholding the information. He said, we've got all the materials. So this strategy that we're seeing in the Senate at the moment, it began in the way that the impeachment was dealt with in the House by the White House and, of course, the GOP. What we're seeing from the GOP in the Senate is just a continuation of that. So there should be no surprises, and we've got 3 days of the Democratic Party giving their evidence, presenting their case, and of course then 3 days of the GOP. I would strongly suggest that if you are triggered by this, you are stressed out by it, don't watch the GOP presenting its case, because obviously it's going to be fairly light on the truth, and it's going to be probably attacking the process. They can do that, and we know that this isn't so much an indictment, a trial in the Senate to whether or not the Trump should be removed from office. It's not so much that, is it? It's more a vote, and this is what we're seeing now. We're seeing not so much a trial, but a vote. And what is that vote likely to go? How is that likely to go? It will go along party lines. So, as I said the other day, they may win the battle, but they certainly won't win the war. So the question is, how are voters now responding to the Democratic case? It's been across all the networks, certainly broadcast live on many, and of course C-SPAN and all the major media here and everywhere else overseas are carrying clips and live footage from that impeachment trial. Let's have a look at how voters in the US are responding to the Democratic case now. Adam Schiff, very much a prosecutor, presenting an excellent case. If he's not a future Attorney General, I don't know who is. So let's have a look. And of course, we had the first women now arguing the case in an impeachment trial in the Senate as well. How does that happen in 2020 that these women are the first women to do that? So there's a lot of change that needs to happen. So let's have a look. How are voters responding to the Democratic case now to impeach Donald? Well, not, he's already been impeached, to uphold the charges and remove or acquit him from office. How are the voters in America responding? Okay, so they've got their eyes. I'm seeing an image of eyes open, eyes wide open. There are more people probably watching this than what you would think. There are more people interested in this than what you would think. We have the signifier card being the Queen of Swords. This is bringing forward truth and stability. It's also, of course, my card that very much identified with the impeachment when it was in the House. It is around truth and stability. So the fact that I got that image of eyes wide open, I would say that the voters generally unfortunately, a majority wanted to see this president put on trial, and actually a majority at 51% would like him removed from office. Truth and stability are the two words that I'm getting very strongly. And what is challenging that? We've got the devil. Okay, so my question, very important question, how do the voters perceive the Democratic case? So if you like, this can be the Democrats challenged by the GOP. The devil, of course, and we've got wealth, big money, wealth. In fact, Donald Trump is the ultimate, he is a bankrupt businessman, but he represents moneyed interest. And it's not just moneyed interests in the US. I think, let's be clear, if I've got time, I'll ask about the Saudis and Jeff Bezos, the Amazon head, Washington Post owner, who had his phone tapped and information taken by the Saudis and given to the National Enquirer. We'll ask whether Trump knew about that a bit later on. So we have truth and stability, which is what that Queen brings forward, challenged by the devil. So really, truth is on trial. Can I put it like that? The foundation of the reading is the Two of Wands, and this is the Crossroads card. It's also a very significant card as well, because it's all about choices and which way are we going to go. It's also about bringing forward plans which mature in time. So again, I come back and I want to stress this strongly. If you remember the Kavanaugh trial, the Kavanaugh confirmation, the sham confirmation, which left everybody aghast. What happened straight after that trial? It was a big motivator, and wands are all about motivation. It was a big motivator for people to get out and vote in the midterms. And what did we see in the midterms? We saw the House being delivered to the Democratic Party. So this is really important, this trial in the Senate. Not so much for how they're going to vote, probably on party lines, but more so for the future, for where the GOP might be in the future, where Trump might be in the future. Okay, for the 2020 elections and also for the Senate elections as well. So in the past, we've got the 10 of Swords. So we're seeing the downfall of Donald Trump in the past. So far, I'm not getting support from these cards for a sham trial. I'm just not seeing it. I'm getting more support for the truth, because the truth is on trial here. What do we have that's crowning this reading? It's all about wealth, and I'm not surprised that Nine of Pentacles would appear here challenging the truth. We have money challenging the truth. We have moneyed interest challenging the truth. Unfortunately, I think this is what's causing a lot of people to be dispirited, because they see this very, very plainly playing out in this trial. In the near future, we've got the Lovers card, partnerships, relationships, who's chained to whom. And of course, this is the GOP. How are they viewing it? All right, I'll tell you how they're viewing it. The majority, I'm talking about, not the 40% that are always going to be with Donald Trump. I'm talking about the approximately 60%, certainly the 51% that want him, removed from office. How are they viewing it? They are viewing it that the truth is being submerged, subverted, twisted, distorted. Why? Why is the truth being twisted? Simply for the interests of Donald Trump. Who is Donald Trump? Donald Trump, the businessman. Okay, so let's keep going. Because I do think it's a question of time with this president. It's always been a question of time. Is this the time that he's removed from office? Probably not. But let's see if there are any surprises that might come up. So we've got the King of Cups in the here and now. They are generally with the way the Democratic Party are presenting their case. They're generally on side with what Schiff and his other team of impeachment managers are doing. They're generally with them. No surprises there. All is going well for the Democratic Party. They're extremely, extremely anxious. People are, with this Nine of Swords, people are extremely anxious, and rightly so, because what's on trial? The truth is on trial. Democracy is on trial. The fear, what's causing their fear is this abuse of power. When you have abuse of power at the presidential level, you have an unstable environment. You have potentially other matters that are going to impact on your national security, because this abuse of power, it's gone beyond the borders of the US. This is a world issue here. This is a global oligarch issue. This is global wealth, global interests that are having a say, that are distorting, along with the president, distorting your democracy. The outcome, King of Swords. Okay, so for those, we've got both the Queen and the King in this reading. For those that are looking for truth, they're looking for their democracy to be protected, they see very, very clearly that the GOP, and I'm not saying the GOP is the devil, I'm saying that big moneyed interests in the US and beyond, Russia, Saudis, whoever, are challenging democracy and are a challenge to the truth. So they see the Democratic Party as being fair. This King of Swords brings forward clarity and the truth. Exactly. Look what we've got here. The Queen, the King, and the Knight of Swords. Action on the truth. And we've got the Six of Swords, moving, healing, moving away from troubled waters. So there's definitely support, wider support for what the Democratic Party is doing. Underneath at the base of the pack, we've got the Three of Wands. So this is expansion, trade, commerce. We've got the whistleblower, and we've got the Ten of Pentacles, which is my card for big money and politics, and we've got illusion and delusion. So the issues are the Democratic Party are setting out the issues very, very well. They that have been brought forward and supported by a whistleblower, that do involve this big moneyed interests, that those around Trump, that do involve the illusions, delusions, smoke screens that are trying to cloud the truth. They do see the Democratic Party bringing forward action to defend the truth. And if I was playing poker, I'd probably win this hand. So that's going to be the next question I'm going to ask. I'm going to ask, will this do long-term damage to the GOP? That's the question I want to know. The way that they're going to do this, and of course they play for the short-term power. It's interesting when people are in the midst of power, they almost have a blindfold on because they can't see too far into the future, because they've already got what they want. They don't have to try any further to get what they want. What they always miss is, what is the best way for me to hold on to power? And so the GOP, again, aren't thinking for the longer term. If they did, they would have taken the midterms as a lesson, but they didn't. So it's likely they will pay the price for that. And we can ask, will they hold the Senate in 2020? But let's have a look. Is this going to do? Let me just give this a good shuffle, because I want to bring forward the cards that need to come forward. Let's have a look. I want to be fairly comprehensive in this reading, because I know that when the Democratic Party finish giving their evidence, it's going to get pretty dirty with the GOP. So let's have a look at, will this... So eyes wide open. People have their eyes wide open. It's very important to remember that. Will the GOP... So straight away I'm getting the image of a monarch, a king, all right? So will And of course, you have a republic. You don't have Trump is not a king. Okay, will the GOP? Uh, I guess will the way the GOP is conducting this trial in the Senate, will it do long-term damage to their party? Will the GOP pay a political price for what they are doing with this impeachment trial in the Senate? Will the GOP lose support, pay a price? Okay, so I'm feeling very much it's a long tunnel that they'll have to travel through. So we have the Page of Pentacles as the signifier card. It's interesting when, this, I guess, minor court card will come out as such a signifier card. So what this is telling me is that news around Trump's financials will be extremely important. The impeachment trial in the Senate, perhaps the vote along party lines is not the main game. The main game will be when that news comes forward. And when it does, it's going to be a real game changer. Okay, so these are the signifier cards. We've got it could well be his tax returns. It could be something else that is likely to come out. But whatever it is, it's going to really stir up a whirlwind. Okay. Now it's only a page, so let's keep going with what the reading might tell us. We've got the Star of Hope. So again, as has always come through my readings, it's very important to keep intentions positive. But that Star of Hope is also a yes card in the tarot, and so it's at the foundation of the reading. It's just going to grow here. We have a whistleblower in the past. Okay, will the GOP pay a price in the future for what they've done? Crowning this reading is the Ten of Pentacles. This is the money in politics, okay? So we shouldn't underestimate that. But this is also my card for the Trump Organization. Okay, so we have the page, we have the Ten of Pentacles, we have communication or information coming out very, very quickly, which is a challenge to this. All right, in the immediate future, we have deceit. Will they pay a price? Deceit, lies. This is the immediate future. This is what is occurring here at this time. So it's a nice overview of conditions. We have keep your thoughts positive. We have a yes card here. We have whistleblowers around the money. So whether this is his tax returns or whether there's another whistleblower likely to come forward between now and 2020, that could be a possibility as well. We've got deception and taking something that doesn't belong to you. This is stealing into the camp, thief stealing into the camp at night and taking the weapons, leaving the camp unguarded. And we have the Ten of Pentacles, big money in politics, Trump Organization. So right now we've got the past card. The environment around that is the Queen of Pentacles. Okay, so actions in the past on whether or not they protected their national security. Particularly, I'm seeing Marie Yovanovitch as well in this reading. They will be judged for their actions in the past, but I'm getting a strong pull to national security and stability of that national security. We have in the hope and fear position the Queen of Wands. She sees what needs to be seen. She develops a plan for security, for stability, and she then brings it forward. It's also inspiration and motivation. So we've got these two very important cards that came up a lot prior to the midterms. We've got the Knight of Pentacles. So this is a slow-moving knight. Will they pay, the GOP pay a price in the long term? Certainly there's not major arcana here. And we've got the Ten of Swords. The Knight of Pentacles is also the the paid for merchant as well, someone in employ. And we've got the Ten of Swords being a downfall here, a completion cycle. And we have the abuse of power. Will they pay a price? They will. They will pay a price. And it's because their abuse of power has been on display. There we've got the Seven of Swords, deceit, and we've got the Five of Swords, abuse of power. We've got the Star turning up. We've got the Pentacles. These are pretty much general overarching conditions that we've seen. Right now, what's happening? We've got the Ace of Wands, new starts. We've got the endings and beginnings, completing a cycle. We've got a higher authority coming in to judge, and this is the Congress. And we've got the Lovers, and of course we've got the Dems. My card for the Democratic Party. So Trump and the Democratic Party. So if I keep going, we've got secrets with this High Priestess, and we've got decisions needing to be made, and an understanding, of course, that there are new starts. What new starts are needed? So what I feel is beware of the campaign because the GOP and Trump will be campaigning to hold on to that power. However, the abuse of power will go against the GOP. It is a slow-moving, I guess, reaction, but nevertheless, it'll be there. So let's have a look. Do GOP senators intend to vote to support Trump? Do GOP senators intend to support Trump? Do GOP senators? It's not a trial so much as a vote along party lines. Do GOP senators intend to vote to acquit Trump? Do GOP senators? Senator Rand Paul playing a crossword. So we've got the investigation, which is heartening. This might actually go to produce documents and witnesses. I know that no new witnesses will be called in, but they do need to vote at the end of these 6 days or 24 hours each over 3 days. At the end of the 48 hours of hearing evidence, they do get to vote whether they want to bring in documents and witnesses. But let's have a look. I'm going to ask whether or not they will vote to acquit Trump. Will the GOP senators vote to acquit Trump? So we've got the Sun, which is a yes card. Unfortunately, as we know, they are likely to do that. However, and this is come back to my phrase, winning the battle, losing the war. Challenging that, I guess, happiness and joy at, holding on to power, protecting their president is the actual truth, this King of Swords. And that, of course, is the way the prosecution is presenting its case as well. Investigations are a challenge to that. So we have at the foundation of the reading disappointment, but there's also a cup being offered to this person here. There's going to be some defections. That's what I feel. There's going to be some crossing of the aisles, but I don't know that it'll be enough. But that will disappoint Trump. Because in the past we've got the Page of Swords, which is really the spy in the camp. It's some kind of truth coming forward. We have what is crowning this reading is the Hermit, which is introspection and reflection, an interesting card to bring up here. Will the GOP vote? Now we have the Empress in the shorter term. The Empress is all about abundance and achieving the harvest. So it's likely they will vote to acquit him. However, there is some, with this Page of Pentacles coming up here in the here and now, there is something around finances that is getting ready to drop. Yep, absolutely. But this is Ace of Pentacles is also about I guess a new start for the GOP once this impeachment trial is out of the way. But this is Russia as well. When I read in layers, I've got Russia here coming into the frame. So we have to understand that some of these senators receive donations through the NRA, which of course was funneled from Russia. Some are beholden to Russian or other oligarchs as well. This is all about the money. The hopes and the fears that the truth will actually come forward. Now we've got the Six of Swords, which is healing, moving on from this. It is a yes card. Let's see what's mirroring that. The Three of Wands. It's time as well, commerce, expansion, and of course victory. So yes, they will. They will vote to acquit this president, but there's some disappointment here for them. Let's have a look, and there is some news that's getting ready to come. They possibly know it, and they're fearing it as well. So let's have a look. It may be a short-term victory for them. Show me this Four of Cups. Show me this Four of Cups. What is this disappointment here? What is this? Okay, so I'm feeling and I'm hearing that not every GOP senator will vote to acquit this president. Okay, show me this Four of Cups. And I got a bit of a tingle up my back then. Show me this Four of Cups. Show me this Four of Cups. Okay, the truth. The Ace of Swords. Somebody's going to... The truth. This trial is not going to, as I said, be aware of... maybe some surprises, but also we've got the truth, the disappointment that the truth may emerge in some way. We've got this Queen of Wands, which I always associate with the Democratic Party, and we've got the Nine of Wands. I feel underneath we've got the Hanged Man. Unfortunately for the King of Cups, clarifying that card, I feel that the progress will be stopped. However, there's something that's occurring with this Death card and the Lovers card and the Justice card that is telling me that this trial is still going to hold some surprises for us. With this disappointment card, there could be senators from the GOP who may cross the aisle, but I don't feel it's enough. It's enough to convict this president at all. But underneath, at the base of the pack, which is the kinds of energies that are really permeating and carrying through, is justice will be done. At the end of the day, one way or another, justice will be done. Okay, so even though we can't see it or feel it at the moment, justice is being done. Now, one last question before I go, because I want to see if the GOP will hold the Senate. That's really the question, and I might even change packs and go to my SpellCasters tarot, which I absolutely love. I was using the Waite tarot, but let's have a look. Will they hold the Senate? Will they hold the Senate in 2020? I think are your elections concurrently for the Senate in 2020? Let's have a look. Will the GOP hold the Senate at the next elections? Will the GOP, let me just cut this deck. Will the GOP hold the Senate? I think this is a really, really good question to ask. Will the GOP, in light of what happened in the midterms, in your midterms, let's have a look. Will the GOP hold the Senate? Win the war but lose the battle. And of course, what would happen then? They would simply just, if they held the House and the Senate, they would impeach the president again and remove him. So let's have a look. Let's have a look. Will the GOP hold the Senate at the next elections in 2020? Will the GOP hold the Senate? I'm feeling they may not. Okay, so we have the voters as the signifier card. America votes. Challenged by the Sun card. That's interesting because that Sun card came up before. Full transparency, full illumination. All right, so we have the Hermit, this investigation, introspection as the foundation of the reading. Eyes wide open. eyes wide open. People are watching this. We have the Tower in the past position, which is really Trump's entire presidency. We have the King of Swords crowning this reading. Remember that King of Swords is the investigator, the truth slayer. Well, he's the bringer of the truth, and he brings forward clarity. They're good cards. Good cards, I think, to see in this reading. Okay, let's have a look what's in the immediate future. Strength and endurance. Okay. Now we have what's happening now. And that strength and endurance, I think, is for the truth. And we have here the Moon card, what's happening now. The shadow side of things being seen. Our Queen of Cups, revelations to come forward. Stability, security, revelations that come forward that protect that. Hopes and fears, I don't know if the GOP are thinking about it, but this is the Hanged Man in the fear position. Now we have the Two of Pentacles. This is juggling, 1 foot in the air, very precarious position, a very precarious position. Who has put them in that position? The Lovers. Deals being chained to this president, and we've got the Ace of Cups, which is loss. Base of the pack, 10 of Swords, Justice card. I'm loving all of this. And we've got our disappointment. Okay, and then we've got the Hierophant. Have faith in a higher source. We have new starts after an abuse of power. It'll be very, very close that they're going to, well, put it this way, they're going to face a lot of loss in the Senate as a result of this impeachment card and of this impeachment trial card. They're going to have to juggle. It'll be very precarious. When someone juggles, it's it's almost like an even split. Interesting. This Eight of Cups tells me that there will be loss for the GOP in the Senate at the next elections as a result of what they're doing now and what they have done over the last 3 years. I know you want me to ask, will the Democratic Party hold the House? I can ask that. I'm aware of the length of this reading, so let's be quick. Will the Democratic Party hold the House? Will the Democratic Party hold the House? Democratic. The Hierophant card, Congress itself, challenged by the Hanged Man. So they're the two signifier cards. So what people are seeing is that Congress is not working effectively. They are disappointed. We've got new starts in the past. In crowning this reading, we've got that abuse of power that people are seeing. We've got the Ace of Pentacles. We've got the Eight of Pentacles in the here and now, the foundation of things. We have the Star of Hope in the environment card. So keeping the House, or giving the House to the Democrats in 2018 was a way of protecting foundation, the foundation of Congress. The hopes and the fears, we've got the Three of Wands, commerce, trade, expansion, overseas and foreign influence. And here we have the Six of Swords, moving out of troubled waters, which is the card that I saw when I started this reading. And we've got my Four of Wands, my card for the Democratic Party. We've got Seven of Wands. They're going to have to defend it, and they're going to have to defend it hard, but they will keep the House. At the base of the pack, we've got the Emperor and control and Donald Trump. We have the Seven of Pentacles, a need for review, and we've got justice, and we've got the King of Swords. So, and we've got new starts. So I'm getting validation both at the base of the pack, and in the outcome cards, the Democratic Party will hold the House. They'll have to work hard for it. They'll have to defend the House. Will they take the Senate? It'll be very close. It will be very close. It could even come down to an even split, or they could take the Senate. But I see them retaining the House, and the GOP being in that position where they've got 1 foot off the ground and they're having to juggle. So that's the reading. I hope that made you feel better. This is going to cost the GOP. Absolutely is going to cost the GOP. What I saw in that reading also was that there's still something else likely to come out around Trump, and either connections to finance or links with finance, or if it's not his tax returns, it's something else. It's to do with his own finances. Something else is getting ready to come out. They might win the battle. They won't win the war. And there's going to be some GOP senators that will cross the aisle. But unfortunately, this isn't a trial. It is a vote. And that's likely to go along party lines, but not. There will be some key surprises, and watch for something major that is going to come out. Thanks for tuning in.